Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Tuesday, June 18, 2013. Well, some minor fireworks yesterday at the G8 meeting in Northern Ireland. President Obama and Russia's President Putin got involved in a public disagreement about Syria. The two leaders ended up staring stonily ahead at the cameras, avoiding each other so as not to show their anger, but earlier in the program they got a bit in each other's faces. It seems as if, however, Mr. Putin is somewhat outflanked insofar as his plan to stop the bloodshed in Syria. Everybody else wants to cease it immediately with impositions of no-fly zones. Mr. Putin favors that President Assad should remain in power. Meanwhile, in the United States, one of the biggest ever showdowns between a car maker and the government, Chrysler today is expected to file papers explaining its refusal to recall 2.7 million Jeep SUVs that are at risk of catching fire in rear-end collisions. The government says 51 people have suffered fiery deaths in Grand Cherokees and Liberties with the gas tanks where they're mounted behind the rear axles. Chrysler is expected to stick to its contention that the SUVs are as safe as similar vehicles on the road and met all federal safety standards at the time they were made. The last time a car company sparred with the government, it was with Ford when they said calling back 1.2 million pickup trucks for defective airbags were not justified in 2011. The government threatened to hold a public hearing bringing in witnesses who had lost family members. Ford quickly backed down. It's expected the government will do the same if Chrysler doesn't back down. Meanwhile, the government is also investigating problems with airbag sensors with small Suzuki SUVs. The probe covers 205,000 vehicles manufactured from 2006 through 2011. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says 128 owners have complained about problems with sensors in the front passenger seats that turn off the airbag when a child is sitting there. Meanwhile, in South America and in Brazil, protesters are massing across the country right now against the rising costs of both public transport and the costs associated with preparing the infrastructure for the 2014 World Cup. Clashes with police are occurring right now in 6 different cities around the country. The protest movement is made up mainly of the middle class and is critical of the government's decision to increase transit rates by 10 cents up to $1.60. Protests have broken out in Brasilia, Sao Paulo, and Rio de Janeiro, as well as in numerous other cities. A container ship with some 477 containers broke apart and sank in the Arabian Sea. And according to the Insurance Insider, the Japanese insurance giant Mitsui Sumitomo is the lead carrier for the $83 million container ship MOL Comfort, which did break in two and sank. Apparently also on the book was Sampo, Tokyo Marine with 20% and Sampo Re with 3%. Japanese reinsurers, all 3 of them. 2 days ago, the Indian Coast Guard, based in Mumbai, coordinated rescue operations to save 26 sailors from the ship. The ship went down early Monday. It occurred about 840 nautical miles west of Mumbai and about 200 nautical miles east of Yemen. The Indian Coast Guard diverted 3 other ships in the area to get to the MS Comfort, but the one that actually was there first was the MV Yantian Express. Meanwhile, Swiss Re announced that they too are now actively looking at broker facilities to evaluate and grow their share of large-ticket corporate business. Fred Kleitrep, who heads the reinsurer's corporate solutions arm for Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, confirmed that Swiss Re is looking with interest at facilities for medium-sized and larger specialist risks. Of course, everybody's jumping on board now because of Berkshire Hathaway's Aon deal. The London syndicate cathedral syndicates had to, bidders, which is up for sale, confirmed that bidders had to submit a bid in the region of £200 million last week to stand any chance of progressing to the second round of the sales process. Sources outside the process told Insurance Insider that some bidders had made initial indicative offers below this mark, but were rejected from the auction. A bid of £200 million represents a multiple to book value of 1.35 times the book. This morning, a gas pipeline ruptured in Louisiana and Washington Parish. The blast reportedly occurred near the intersection of Highway 60 and Highway 1072 in Washington Parish, about 65 miles north of New Orleans. The owner of the pipeline, Florida Gas, confirmed that one of their lines was to blame for the blast. It shut down the line, and some people locally in the area have been evacuated. Meanwhile, in India, an unusually early monsoon has left at least 60 people dead. The rains are at least twice as heavy as usual in northwest and central India. Bridges, houses, and multi-story buildings have been washed away. The National Disaster Management Agency says up to 50,000 people are stranded, including as many as 5,000 tourists and pilgrims. Air Force helicopters have dropped commandos to help rescue some of those stranded. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll